We know that words in Arabic spring mostly from triliteral roots. However, I have to show you the other face of the coin that reflects the word stock of non-triliteral origin, which is limited compared to the former. A class of standardized verbal nouns that are patterned following grammatical rules for their derivations. They are quadriliteral words that consist of 4 letters. Quinquiliteral, 5 letters, and hexaliteral, 6 letters. These verbal nouns are known in Arabic as al-masadir al-qiyasiyya. Al-masadir is the plural noun of masdar, a verbal noun. Qiyasiyya is a feminine singular adjective describing a non-human plural. Al-masadir al-qiyasiyya. Standardized verbal nouns of acknowledged standard with defined patterns to each peculiar grammatical category, relying on verb forms as a guide for derivation. These standardized paradigms have been decided on by grammarians and established as part of the language to clear up some grammatical conundrums for Arabic learners and facilitate the grasp of grammar rules in order for you to stay on track with this language learning process. Let's start off with quadriliteral verbal nouns that derive from form 4 verbs, which are defined by the pattern أفعل with the hamza followed by the short vowel fatha that precedes the first original radical of a given root in its muted form due to the presence of sukun, af. Then the second radical followed by a fatha, and lastly the third radical with another fatha, af'ala, like ash'ala. So the root of this form 4 verb is shin, ain, lam. We had just to replace these placeholders with the root of this verb to have form 4 verb, ash'ala. Ash'ala is to kindle, to ignite, to set on fire. Ash'ala an-nara. Ash'ala an-nara. He kindled a fire. An-nar, fire. أشعل النار في الحطب. We're elongating the sentence for advanced learners. أشعل النار في الحطب. الحطب, the wood, the firewood. He set fire to the wood. أشعل النار في الحطب. He lit a match. A match. أشعل الكبريت. الكبريت. الكبريت is sulfur, the chemical element sulfur. Or you can say أشعل عود الثقاب. عود ثقاب is within a possessive construction. Oud is the wooden stick of the match. الثقاب is the head. So he lit the wooden match or matchstick. عود الثقاب. or الكبريت. He lit a cigarette. He lit a cigarette. أشعل سيجارة. سيجارة is the object of the verb أشعل. أشعل with tanween because it's indefinite. سيجارة. سيجارة with double فتحة. أشعل السيجارة بالقداحة. القداحة in the genitive because it's preceded by the preposition ب. بالقداحة with the cigarette lighter. Cigarette lighter. Or there is another word for the same noun which is الولاعة. أشعل السيجارة بالولاعة. بالولاعة or القداحة. بالقداحة. بالولاعة. أشعل الشمعة. If it's definite. If the object is definite, you would use one singular short vowel. أشعل شمعة. He lit a candle. الشمعة. Candle. That is to say that this action of lighting, which is integrated in Arabic as إشعال. إشعال. That rhymes with إفعال. إفعال is the paradigm used for verbal nouns that are related to form for verbs. So this إفعال is used to generate verbal nouns of this form, which is for. So أفعل إفعال. أفعل إفعال. So if you encounter the verbal noun إهمال, إهمال defined as negligence with the root ها ميم لام after eradicating the hamza with its kasra and the alif that belong to the pattern. You will be able to identify the verb أهمل that conforms to the pattern أفعل, which is form 4. Form 4. So أهمل is form 4. To neglect, which goes with, as I said, the pattern أفعل. أفعل. إتقان. إتقان. أتقن. إتقان, perfection, excellence. The verbal noun of أتقن, to perfect. For example, أتقن هو, he, third person, masculine, singular. أتقن اللغة العربية. He mastered Arabic. أتقن اللغة العربية. He mastered Arabic. إتقان اللغة العربية. إتقان, the root تاء قاف نون. إتقان, mastery of Arabic. So if you want to use the noun إتقان, you would say إتقان اللغة العربية within the possessive construction, where the second term and its modifying adjective are in the genitive. إتقان since we start this phrase with the verbal noun itqan, it's gonna be in the nominative with the sign of ضمة. إتقان اللغة العربية. And the same applies to إحسان. إحسان. What is the root of إحسان? ح سين نون. So إحسان, kindness, humanitarianism, from the verb أحسن. أفعل. أحسن. إفعال. إحسان. أحسن, to do or act well. And you may address someone saying أحسنت. أحسنت. Well done. أحسنت. The antonym is أساء. The hollow verb form 4. أساء. Because of the weak letter alif in its middle. أساء. أساء is to do wrong, to act badly. From the root sin, and the origin of that alif is wow, and then the hamza. As its verbal noun, we have إساءة. So when you encounter a form 4 hollow verb where its middle radical is a weak letter, waw, alif, or ya, the y, you would generate its verbal noun within this form, إساءة. So we would still have the hamza with its kasra, and you will keep the same core, إساءة, and then you will add a circular ta, the tight ta, toward its end, إساءة. إساءة means harm, offense, insult. So when the middle radical of the root has any of the weak letters, like our example, so you will follow the pattern إفعال for their verbal nouns. إشارة. إشارة is the verbal noun of the hollow verb form 4 أشارة. أشارة. إشارة means a sign, a signal. And the verb أشارة is to point out something, to indicate. And the root is shin, and this alif, normally it turns to a waw, its origin, and the ra, shin, waw, ra. So إشارة, أشارة. إعادة. 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 أعادة. إعادة. So إفعل. 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 إعادة. إشارة. This weak letter replaces the middle radical, the ain. And then a ta, a tight ta, is added toward the end. إعادة. So إعادة is returning or repeating. إعادة. So when something is repeated, it can be a word, an action, whatever. So, and the verb أعاد, the hollow verb form for أعاد, means to return or bring back or Repeat. It all depends on the context. So keep in mind that a verbal noun, al-masdar, is a noun that reflects the action implied in the verb with no specific time frame. And its construction relies on the form of the verb from which the derivation happens. And that's it for today. إلى اللقاء.